So good afternoon. Today I'm at Painted Hills. It's part of the John Day National Lake Scenic Area. It's in Eastern Oregon, and it's amazing. It's spectacular. It's going to be really hard not to come away with just a really good photograph. So let me just show you some of this incredible eye candy behind me. So one thing I've already noticed is that when you get presented with something that's so amazing and it's gorgeous and you get really excited, you start to forget simple things that you would normally not forget. And it's things like your composition and actually finding something that works instead of something that's just pretty, right? I mean, the rocks and the colors are just insanely beautiful, but you still have to think through compositions. Think about where you're going to place a center of interest or the colors, and then do you want to include a lot or just a little? So I've already put my 100 to 400 on just to get a little bit closer, and even maybe do some abstract stuff where there's no sky, it's just those colors and those shadows as the sun goes down and the shadows just rake across the hills. They're super, super smooth, and it's like a mud. It's not rock, it's like a cracked mud surface. And so there's no trees, there's no grass, there's no vegetation, so it almost looks like somebody just sculpted it or carved it out of clay. It's absolutely stunning, and as the sun goes down, I think it's just going to get better and better and better. And there's a whole access road that goes from the beginning of the park up to this, to where I haven't even gotten yet, that you can just stop and shoot, or you can just walk the whole road and shoot. Again, it's going to be hard to come away with a bad photo, but it's going to be hard to come away with a great one as well. So one thing to absolutely know, if you're ever in a situation like this, where you got the shadows coming across and you got the colors and the gradations in the hills over there, polarizer is going to make all the difference in the world. It's really, really going to bring out those oranges and those greens in the hill. Without it, it's going to look a little bit drab, and that polarizer is going to do wonders. The other thing I'm going to tell you is if you decide to do a pano, do a panorama, you're going to do multiple shots, take the polarizer off. If you leave it on, you're going to be really sad, because if you have any sky in there and it polarizes part of the sky, as you move the pano right to left or left to right, odds are you're going to have a dark section of sky, and then it's going to be impossible. It's going to look real blotchy. It's not going to be a smooth blue in the sky, because depending on where the sun is and how you have your polarizer turned for your foreground, it could really mess up your sky. So just pull it off if you're going to do a pano that includes the sky. That's an important tip you need to remember. So another thing to watch out for when you're shooting and the sun is at your back is that your shadow does not end up in the shot, because it's really hard to remove it in Photoshop or anything else. So the best thing you can do is try to mitigate that by adjusting your angle, but you don't want your shadow to end up in the shot. So don't again, this is all going to be about slowing down when you get excited, because it's easy when you're seeing something so amazing to just let all those things, forget about it. You get home and then you've got your shadow just streaking across the bottom of the image, and you're like, and then you'll be really sad. So back at the Painted Hills this morning, and the sunrise is pretty nice. Just take a look at that. That's nice. The bad news is that the Painted Hills here are just all in shadow at the moment. So I'm having to bracket my photos, bracket the shots, and then I will hopefully be able to pull those together to make a really nice image. But this light and this color in the sky is not going to last long. As soon as that sun starts to pop up, that color is going to vanish. So like I was saying yesterday, I'm going to have to put the video down and get some photos, or otherwise I won't have anything to show at the end of the video. So let me get some shots. So the sun's come up, and I found another composition I want to share with you. I actually really like it. So let me show you what it's going to look like and walk you through the thoughts on it. All right, so the composition is, I'm going with a square crop because it's going to work. The sky is definitely not very interesting at the moment. But what is interesting is down here in this little valley, I've got the grass is yellow, and it's starting to catch a little bit of sun right here, and it makes a wonderful little S-curve. There is a tree right here, and then you follow the S-curve and it takes you right up to this nice little painted hill back in the background. So I've got a nice leading line. I've got some middle ground interest with that tree, and then my background, I've got that painted hill back there. So in order to like compress that and bring everything a little bit closer together, I'm not going to be using, I'm not going to be really a wide angle. I am at like 70 millimeters, 65 millimeters, somewhere around in there. So that I basically can move that tree closer to the hill in the back, and the hill doesn't get too small because it's not like gigantic. And I also want to minimize the sky because the sky is not that interesting, so I want just a small amount of sky back there as I can get away with. I'm varying my composition just a little bit so I have some stuff to choose from when I get back in the office. As it is, if you just take you take the same shot over and over again, you're going to end up with a lot of the same things. But if you adjust, you go a little wider angle, you put a little less sky, put a little more sky, zoom in a little bit more, and it's going to give you some options. And you might see something after you get back on your computer that you like a lot better. So again, just vary your composition just a little bit, and you'll come out ahead. So that about wraps it up from Painted Hills in Eastern Oregon. So before I show you the photos that I got, take a second and subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video, and click that notification bell so that you don't miss any of my videos that I release each and every Wednesday. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Now, I'll admit that I came away with a lot of photos that I really liked, and it took me a while to figure out which ones I wanted to include in the video. This one is so abstract. It is like another planet. It's like an alien landscape. There's actual animal tracks that you can see in the detail of the mud that it has gone up the side of the hill. Like an extruded clay, colorful. It's just an incredible landscape. For this image, I zoomed in a lot more, and so it's a little bit more abstract. There's no sky or any ground. It's just the shape of the hill and those amazing shadows as the sun rakes across the side of it. I think the colors are just fantastic, and I absolutely love the texture of the cracked mud and the deep shadows and the highlights playing off the top. I think it's just great. I love it. This photo was from the sunrise, and this is probably, I believe, 3 shots that I blended together to create this one image. I had to warm up the foreground quite a bit because it was in deep shadow, and darken up the sky just a little bit to create more of a natural look. But I wanted to be able to show the entire hills with that fantastic sunrise, and I love the way this one came out as well. I said in the video that I was going to go with a square crop on this, but after looking at it, it didn't quite leave enough room for that great leading line of that S-curve of that golden grass to lead to the tree, to the background of that painted hill. So I did use a very long lens for it. I was zoomed in quite a bit, but I ended up going with a 3x2. So this last photo that I wanted to share is of the same subject, but it's a horizontal version versus a vertical, and it allows me to have a much longer leading line from the lower right hand side of the frame up to the tree and that S-curve taking you back to the painted hill. It did include a little bit of sky and some of the background, but all in all, I think it's a beautiful photo, and the shadows were still playing really, really nice. The sun wasn't too high in the sky.